Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we've got another signing and trade update video to talk about. In today's video, we're looking at two signings, including Fabian Zetterlund in Ottawa and Duchene in Dallas. And we've got a trade to discuss between the Dallas Stars and the Seattle Kraken. We'll go to all three of these moves coming up right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here at the End-to-End Hockey channel. Now before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe down below. Thank you for all of your support. I would never be able to do this without all of you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. Don't forget to leave a comment. We're on the road to 500 subscribers. Don't forget to stay tuned for my June 27th at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, June 28th at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, and July 1st at 9:30 a.m. Mountain Time live stream talking about the draft, free agency, and everything else in between, so don't forget to stay tuned for those things. But in today's video, we're looking at a couple of very big moves that happened last night. I'm recording this as of Friday morning, so it happened last night. But we've got two big signings and a very interesting trade to discuss here today, so we're going to touch on all three of these things. So first, we're going to touch on Fabian Zetterlund. Zetterlund, who was an RFA in the Ottawa Senators organization, was acquired at the trade deadline from the San Jose Sharks. Really solid top 9 winger. Didn't have the greatest of fits in Ottawa because Ottawa had a couple of really good lines they didn't really want to tinker with. So Zetterlund sometimes playing the first line, sometimes playing the second line, sometimes playing the fourth line. But he has signed a 3-year contract extension with the AAV of $4.275 million. So it's an interesting signing there for the Senators, in my opinion. Zetterlund's 25 years old. Like, this is going to keep him in Ottawa until he's UFA eligible. So I think this is a pretty good pickup there for Ottawa. He had 2 goals and 4 points in 18 regular season games with Ottawa this year, and also had 17 goals and 36 points in 64 games with San Jose. So had 19 goals and 40 points this year, which isn't overly bad after he had 24 goals and 44 points the year prior. So not overly bad season there from Zetterlund, splitting time between San Jose and Ottawa. It took him a little bit to get accustomed to Ottawa's system, but I think this is exactly what Ottawa needs. They were not really great 5-on-5 scoring this year. Zetterlund's a guy who is great at 5-on-5 scoring, and I think if you tinker with them, like, they still have to try and sign Giroux. If they let Giroux walk, maybe he gets more ice time. If they keep Giroux, maybe they trade David Perron, then he gets more ice time. Like, I think Zetterlund's probably going to be a top 6, top 9 forward guaranteed this year, especially with this contract. You don't pay Zetterlund this sort of money if he's going to be like a bomb 6 forward. So I feel like he's going to be a solid second, third, maybe even first line guy. At 4.275, he's producing 20 to 25 goals. I don't think that's a bad contract there for the Senators. If he's in the bottom 6, not producing that good, then maybe that's not a great contract, but still, I think it's a pretty good contract here for the Ottawa Senators, as they have taken care of some of the RFA business and signed Fabian Zetterlund to a 3-year extension. Then another big signing we saw from last night was in Dallas, Duchene. Now, we talked about Duchene in the past a while. 2 years ago, he was bought out on his contract by the Nashville Predators, signed a 1-year deal in Dallas. Last offseason, signed another 1-year deal in Dallas to stay there. We talked about this a couple of trade rumor videos ago about how Duchene wanted to stay in Dallas, but he wanted a multi-year deal. He wanted some job security. Didn't want to have another 1-year contract with the Stars. Well, he gets both of his wishes. He stays in Dallas on a multi-year deal. The center/right winger gets a 4-year contract extension with an AAV of $4.5 million. Now, Duchene had an 82-point season last year, putting up 30 goals and 82 points in 82 games. Like, he was a point-per-game player after he had 65 points in 80 games the year prior. So all in all, Duchene was actually quite a good fit for the Dallas Stars this year. He's a solid top 6 forward. He can play center. He's a really good second line center. He can also play wing if other players are better suited as the second line center. I think this is going to be a really solid deal for the next year or two. Like, towards the end of the contract, when he's getting to like 37, 38 years old, towards the end of that deal, his production is going to start coming off. He's probably going to be like a 40 to 50 point player at that point, which is still not overly bad for only a $4.5 million AAV, but it's definitely not going to be the value that he could be right now. So I think longer term, towards the end of this deal, it's not going to look overly great, but I think for the next year or two, $4.5 million for a top 6 forward who was a point per game player last year, that's a steal in my opinion. I think Duchene would have been able to get $5 to $6 million, maybe like a 2 to 3 deal, maybe even somewhere closer to sort of like a Joe Pavelski type contract, 3x7 if he was to hit the open market. So he takes maybe a little bit of a pay cut, maybe gets an extra year, and he stays in Dallas, which is what he wanted all along. So all in all, I really do like this deal for Dallas. Like I said, longer term towards the end of the contract, probably not going to be a great fit. But with the way Duchene played last year, how good of a fit he's been in Dallas, I love this deal for the Stars, especially over the next year or two. So very interesting note there, but the Stars have signed Duchene to a 4-year extension, $4.5 million, and they're able to keep Duchene in the fold, which is one of the priorities I said in my offseason preview video. I said they needed to keep 2 of Duchene, Granlund, and Ben, and Duchene's off the board. So very good stuff there for the Dallas Stars. Well, after they signed this deal, that left them with a mere $500,000 in cap space for this upcoming season, and that's not going to do it when this team needs to improve and still sign one of at least Ben or Granlund. So they needed to make a move, and they did. Just a couple of hours after the Duchene move, the Dallas Stars hooked up on a trade with the Seattle Kraken. The trade is as follows. The Seattle Kraken acquire Mason Marchment from the Dallas Stars in exchange for a 2025 4th-round pick and a 2026 3rd-round pick. So this isn't a bad deal for either side of these teams. For our Stars, Marchment's AAV is the exact same AAV as Duchene's new contract, $4.5 million. Marchment has 1 year left on his deal. Very likely chance that if he was to stay in Dallas, he would have wanted to leave him as a free agent anyway. So they clear cap space. They get a couple of draft picks in return. They don't lose Marchment for nothing next year. So all in all, Marchment was a very likely trade candidate given his cap hit, his contract length. So I don't think this comes as too much of a surprise, especially given the fact they were just able to sign Duchene. They get a 4th-round pick and a 3rd-round pick. The 4th-round pick is 126 overall in this upcoming draft, just a week from now. They could trade that pick. It is originally their own. It wound up going to Seattle as part of the Alex Wennberg deal from the New York Rangers organization. So I could see Dallas keep the 126 overall pick and use it to maybe select someone in the draft. I wouldn't be surprised if they use it in a package to try and get some more improvements. So we'll have to wait and see on that. When it comes to the 2026 3rd-rounder, it is Seattle's. It is next year. At this point in time, at least, I don't expect the Kraken to be a playoff team, so it's probably going to be a higher level 3rd-round pick next year. If the Dallas Stars are once again a playoff team, could see that pick wind up being moved as trade fodder to try and improve their team next year at the trade deadline. So we're going to wait and see on that. But 2 picks, a 3rd and 4th-round pick for Marchment. Is it the greatest return? No, it's not. But is it a good return for freeing up some cap space, allowing them to sign Duchene and getting a couple of draft picks for the future? No, it's not the worst return either. So very interesting note there. For the Kraken, this is an interesting pickup there. They get Marchment. He's a left winger / center. He can play center if need be. He's mostly though a winger. He's 30 years old. He's in the final year of his deal. Like the Kraken, I think at this point you just sort of try and go through some sort of a retool, try and reset a little bit after the last couple of seasons not being overly good for them. Marchment, he's in the final year of his deal. So it's sort of similar to the Eric Hall situation in Nashville. Is he going to be a solid player in Nashville? Probably. Is it a smart move there for them to get another bottom 6 forward when they have a plethora of them already? Probably not. Is he a guy who could be dealt at the trade deadline if they're out of the playoff spot for a pretty good return? Yes, he is. I think it's the same sort of thing with Seattle and Marchment. Is Marchment going to be a really solid add for them? I think so. I think he's going to be a solid 3rd-line guy, 2nd-line guy. Like he had 47 points in 62 games last year after he had 53 points in 81 games the year after, and has had back-to-back 22-goal seasons. So if he's another 20 to 25 goal scorer for the Seattle Kraken, which is something that they really didn't have a whole bunch this year, which was solid goal scorers from that team, that could be a solid add for the Seattle Kraken. On top of that, he's a penny UFA. If the Kraken are once again not going to be in the playoff spot next year, they could move him at the trade deadline, and Marchment's a guy who I think a lot of teams would have some major interest in at the trade deadline should the Kraken be out of the playoff spot. So we're going to wait and see on that. No guarantees that the Kraken are going to miss the playoffs or anything, but it's also another guy with thighs. The Kraken don't have a whole bunch of solid, bigger type players. Marchment's 6'5", he knows how to lay the body, he can put up points. All in all, I think this is a pretty dang good pickup there for the Kraken. They only gave up a 3rd and 4th-round pick for a middle 6 forward who can help them this upcoming season, and if they're not in the playoffs, they can trade the trade deadline. This is a pretty dang good pickup in my opinion for Seattle Kraken. I saw a couple of people on Twitter, some Canucks fans, some Leafs fans, some Red Wings fans all saying this is a steal of a deal for the Seattle Kraken. They wish their teams would have been able to get them. So all in all, I think Marchment was a guy who was definitely going to get moved. I think the Kraken picking him up is a solid add. And even though they already have a whole bunch of middle 6 forwards, I think this is a steal of a deal for the Seattle Kraken. So all in all, in my opinion, at this point in time, I think Seattle wins this deal, given how good of a help Marchment could be and what they could get at the trade deadline. But if he winds up staying, walking as a UFA, maybe the Stars win this deal. So we're going to have to wait and see on that. But that's all I'm going to talk about for today. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Who do you think won the Seattle-Dallas deal of Mason Marchment? And what do you think of the Zetterlund and Duchene signings? Definitely your thoughts on all of that down in the comment section below. That's all I'm going to talk about for today. Remember to like this video And if you really liked it, remember to subscribe down below. Thank you for all of your support. I would never be able to do this without all of you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't forget to leave a comment. Don't forget to stay tuned for June 27th, June 28th, and July 1st live streams talking about the draft, free agency, and other things. I also do a blog talking about news, rumors, analysis, stuff like that. So check that out. I've linked it in the description below. Cannot wait to see you guys all for next video. See you guys soon.